So, okay, so now we made it destroy itself in a beautiful fire of death and hell when it dies. So let's make it give us a gun. Give me a gun. So I will... on the weapon pickup, I'm gonna define a function. A property. It's gonna be which gun this specific pickups gives you. Let me make a U property here. U property T. So I'll make it edit instance only. We want to set it in. We want to only set it in the level, not on the actor itself. So I'll do a T subclass of U weapon base. Weapon type. There we go. So now we can define a specific weapon type that a drop will give you, will give the player. And I will, on the player, I will make a function called equip weapon. That takes a subclass of a weapon. There we go. So we will call this equip weapon from the drop. That's the plan. I think it will be pretty neat. So then when we call equip weapon, then we'll instantiate the weapon. So we'll do get world. Spawn actor. We've done this a billion times. Come on. A weapon base. We'll spawn the type. Like so, and then we'll add it to the array. So we'll do weapons, add weapon. Like so. So now when we call this equip weapon, it will be spawned and it will be added to this list. Cool. So now we can go into weapon drop and call that function. Pickup. So before destroying, we'll use call player equip weapon. Weapon type. Cool. Easy peasy. What the fuck could go wrong?
You know you're never supposed to say that, right?
Well, I mean, I'm so confident. Oh, fuck.
Told you.
You weapon base? What the fuck? I didn't write that. Someone went in and tampered my code. A weapon base. Just gonna close this. Oh, I forgot honey. I need honey. How will I drink tea without my honey? Alright, let's see what fails. Oh, God. Ah, God! Alright, so weapon pickup, A weapon base is undeclared specifier. That's not good. I think most of these can be fixed by just for declaring it. So let's try that. I don't actually ever think we need the actual definition of weapon base. I think we only need the forward declaration, honestly. So that's neat. Hold on while I just pour honey into my sweet fucking tea. There we go. Okay, so now on the weapon pickup, we can define which type of weapon should be picked up when you run into this guy. So let's say this guy gives you an assault rifle. So that's cool. So I'm gonna play it. And if I run into him, so now I'm not shooting anything. And if I run into him, bang! Oh, fuck. I forgot player owner again. Dang it.
It was so powerful, it destroyed the engine.
Yeah, exactly. So, of course, I forgot to set the player owner when I spawn the weapon, because I'm dumb. So on the weapon, I will just set the player owner to be this. There we go. Okay. Oh, I gotta set it first. Oh, it's not even here anymore. So let's go in and add a drop again. Set the type to be assault rifle and play. And boom and pew 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 pew. Pretty fucking sick. So then if I add a bunch of more, so I'll add another one, and that's gonna be our grenade launcher. So I play, I have nothing. Pick this one up. Assault rifle, but I can't switch. Unless I pick up the grenade launcher and switch. Now I have both. Fantastic. Alright, so let's do one more thing before we end for today. Let's make it so we have an actual mesh for the gun. What do you guys think about that? So we can see sort of which gun we have equipped, right? Because right now it's just like nothing. It would be nice to have something down in the corner. I think that's pretty common in FPS games. I think we can bang that up pretty quickly. So I'm just gonna go into weapon. Weapon base. And now I'll make sure to add a root here, so we always have a root component on our weapons. Whoops. Visible. Oops. Using component. Oh, I can't type. Component. Ah! God, I'm struggling. Roots. Roto! God. So I'll just make a constructor. There we go. And I'll make the root here. Root is equal to create default object of using component. Root. There we go. Okay, so now we have our root. And what we're gonna do is that when we spawn a weapon, or rather when we equip a weapon, we attach it to the player. So we attach it to the camera, actually. So let's try that and just see what happens. So I'm just gonna, in the player, when we spawn a weapon, so when we like equip it, I'm just gonna attach it and you see what happens. So I'm just gonna attack to component. Is that not it? I think that's it. Attach. Oh, there we go. Component. So parent. So that's what we want to attach the weapon to. So I'll attach it to the camera. Attachment rule. Let's see. F attachment. Transform rules. : and then we want to have snap. Snap the targets. That's not including scale. So what you saw me do there was there are a bunch of attachment rules already defined, and that's what it should do with like what it should do with location, what it should do with rotation, and it's sort of defining should it stay where it is. It should like it attaches, but it stays where it is in the world. So it its world position doesn't change, or you can do keep relative, which means like it will keep its relative position to what it was attached to before and keep that relative in its new one, which is sometimes useful. Or do you want to do snap to it to be like, okay, just reset your location and rotation to just be, exactly at the component you're attaching to. And those are different rules that you can find in this F attachment transform rules. Or you can make your own. You can make your own struct and feed that in if you want to. These are just like the default ones. So like if you want to snap location but keep rotation or whatever, you can define that in that struct.
What's the difference between setup attachments? I'm assuming that's just literally just parenting it and I'm doing nothing with location, or?
Well, what did you say?
If you like do setup attachments, is that similar or?
Setup attachment, yeah. I'm not sure what happens in setup attachment, to be completely honest with you. There's black magic going on in there, but I'm assuming somewhere it's doing this stuff. But yeah, setup attachments is something that should only be called in constructor and should only be called on your sub-objects. It's not something you should call in runtime. If you want to attach stuff in runtime, then you use attach to components.
All right.
Cool, so now we're attaching the weapon to the camera and we're snapping it to be, right there. It's probably gonna look pretty fugly, but let's just see what happens to see if it even works at all. So I'm gonna go into the assault rifle and actually add something so it looks like anything. I'm gonna compile first. Force. Cool. So now in the assault rifle BP, I'm actually going to add a mesh. So that's going to be what it looks like when it's attached to the camera. So I'm going to delete the default scene root. I can't delete it right now, yeah. I have to reopen it, I think. Yes, cool. So I'll just add like a cube or something to be like, this is our assault rifle, isn't it pretty? And I'll make sure that X is the thing that's pointing forwards. So I'll make it sort of like this. It's a gun, obviously. Just gonna disable snapping for a little bit. Come on. There we go. I'll make another one. I'll make a handle. We had a guy at Hazler actually. Okay. He made like a hammer using like it was like 60 boxes and like cylinders and stuff that he just like fucking Frankenstein together into a hammer, and he was like he was in the game for like a non-significant amount of time. It was like even in like the last months, it was like Wait, 3 has a reference to Goldhammer for some reason that we had to go in and remove. So he was quite dedicated. Okay, so there we go. That's a gun. That's an assault rifle. I'll make it so the middle point is sort of where, you know, where the hand would be, I guess. So I'll put that to be as close to the middle point of the actor as possible. So the origin will be sort of where the handle is. I guess I'll do something like that. So there we go. And also, as always, make sure to go into your static meshes and disable collision. They should only be visual. They should not be more than that. So now when we play the game, let's see what happens. So I'm going to pick up an assault rifle. Okay. All right. This is like Doom, but worse. So if we eject,
Doom.
we can see that, okay, yeah, so it is attached to us, right? But it's just sort of right at the fucking camera. So it's kind of hard to see anything because it's, you know, it's, yeah, we should probably offset it a little bit. So the way I would probably do this, to make it as easy as possible to tweak where it should be, is that I'm actually gonna make another scene component on a player. So I'm gonna make a scene component, attach that to the camera, and then in the player blueprint, I'll move the scene component to where I want the gun to be attached to, so I don't have like a hard-coded offset vector or something. Instead, I can very easily just move the scene component to where I think it should be to look nice. So I'll make a U property. It's a very common thing you do. So I'll do it visible anywhere. Let me just get U scene components, and I'll call it like weapon attachment. Weapon attach roots, good name. So that's the scene component I want the weapons to attach to when they're equipped. So I'll go in here and make it. So I'll do weapon attach roots. Component. Whoops. And I call it just weapon attach. There we go, and then I'll attach that to the camera. So I'll do setup attachments. Whoops. I'll attach it to the camera. So now, instead of attaching to the camera, I'm gonna attach the weapons to this weapon attach route. So instead of the camera, I'm gonna attach it to the weapon attach route. So this is a very common thing that you do to keep things neat. When it comes to attaching stuff to other things, or, you know, rotating stuff around, pivots and things, it's always nice to have scene components to control those things. So you can very easily move the scene components around to change the configuration, and you don't want to see magical, like, oh, I offset by 500 units upwards because that's, I have to do that. Then I will just make another scene component, make that offset 500 upwards, and stuff like that. It's more expensive, you know, because it has to do more matrix transformations, but it's fine. It's worth the clean code. That's what I think, at least. So now if we play and I pick up the assault gun, then, okay, nothing much has changed, but that's of course because I haven't moved the scene component yet. So I'll just go into player. And now there's a weapon attached route here, and I can just easily in Blueprint, I can just move that to be like, okay, at, you know, my right down here somewhere. Maybe even rotate it a little bit. So the gun is sort of pointing inwards a little bit. Let's see. Okay, so that looks not great. So, but now I can actually just go in here and just eject, and let's just fucking get rid of this guy. Bye bye. So let's just say I wanna.
So you just added a scene component to the CPP class.
Yes.
To get it in the blueprint.
Yes.
Okay.
So here I can actually just move this sort of in... Oh, not the camera. Whoops. The weapon attach route. So I'm just gonna move this here. I'm gonna move it down a little bit. Move it left. Actually, the rotation didn't actually look all that good, so I'm actually gonna reset that. Something like that. Yeah, that looks pretty okay. The fucking gun is massive, so I should probably scale that down a little bit as well. So there we go. Now we have a nice offset here. I'm just gonna copy this. So I'm just gonna right-click location to copy. And then in the player, I'm just gonna go in here and just click paste here. There we go. So now when I play, boop, it's nice. I should probably rotate it outwards actually, but whatever. I'll also scale down the gun because it was fucking way too big. I hate the scaling. Why isn't it uniform? Okay, so fucking... Why isn't it scale? If I'm scaling, why would I not scale it uniformly? What the fuck? I'm so mad. Okay, so I have to scale it fucking... Like so. And then I have to scale the other one. Like so. See, it ain't easy being an artist, guys. There we go. Oh, it looks so fucking good, dude. It looks so good. Oh god. All right, so that's our gun. It's very, it's great. Okay, so we have a gun. Okay, so now we should probably do the same with the rocket launcher, right? Or the grenade launcher. So we just go into grenade launcher and just make a little nice thing for him. Grenade launcher. I'll make a cylinder. It's like a bazooka. It's a bazooka. So scale it, making sure to note what's forward. So I'm checking down here to see that X is forward here. So that stays consistent. And then I'll just scale it down a little bit. And I'll put... Oh. Oops. No. I'll put the root of the actor to be roughly where the hand should be. So the hand, he should be holding like here somewhere. So that's gonna be our bazooka. So if I pick that up... Oh shit! Okay, so this is what happens if you don't... Yes, you see I'm like glitching around. So this is what happens if you forget to disable collision on the meshes.
Reminds me of that one glitch in Mario 64 where you pick up a bomb right where it explodes and its collision is still like active.
Pushing you backwards.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. So now they look different. Let's actually make a material on this guy because I haven't actually told you guys the materials at all. So it might be good to see that happening. I want to change the color of this bad boy. So I am gonna make a material for this person. So I'm gonna right click. I'll do material here. So I'll do it's not really, I mean, material are like the least agreed upon prefix. Some do like mat underscore, but at Hazelight we do like bazooka material, like we postfix our materials instead of prefixing them, or suffix. I mean, not postfix. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I guess I'll do bazooka material. So the way that materials work in Unreal is very simple. It's just slangs and boxes, and it's even more simple than blueprints. So by default, it uses Unreal's very special lighting system, which is PBR. So you get like, you know, base color, which would be your albedo in that case, and I have like metallic, specular, roughness, anisotropy, whatever that is, emissive if you think close, and then you have normal tangent, well, blah blah blah. All of these if you want to override them. Also pixel depth of it is cool. So this is like the default lighting model of Unreal, using very standard PBR. So I mean, it's very easy to be like, okay, I want to have a new base color, right? Then you just you can hold 4 and click to get a vector 4, or you can just right click and do vector 4, I believe. Vec 4, float 4. Oh, there we go. Make float 4. Okay, that was not what I wanted. I don't know how to get this node other than hitting 4 and clicking. I don't know. It's probably some way, but I can't find it right now. But this is just hard coding a vector 4 into our material. So I'll just make it be like fucking, I don't know, yeah, pink. Let's go with pink bazooka. And I'll just plug that into base color. And here's what it's gonna look like. It's just gonna be fucking pink. Pink F. If you want to make it glow, I can just copy this. Put it into emissive. So now it'll be a little bit glowy. It's not kind of hard to see, so I can make it more glowy. By this V here is the strength of the color, or I mean it's the size of the vector if you see it as a vector 4. But so if I want to make this fucking really ass pink, like it's gonna be pink up the ass, then I just do like, okay, I'll do V like 5. So it's gonna be pink but times 5. So then now you can see now it's really fucking glowy. And if I want to make it like fucking super ass glowy, then I'll do like 100. So now it's gonna be like fucking like it's ultra glow. So yeah, it's very simple. Like the material editor is just like it's just click and drag basically. But I want to make the bazooka black. Oh, sorry.
Was that just the pink color or texture that wasn't loaded?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the color is just set to pink. It wasn't the texture that had failed to load wrong or so.
No, it was just me setting a pink color. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just pink. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I want a bazooka to be like gray or something. That's a good color. Yeah, that's a good color. All right. So let's click apply, and that will update all of the materials in the level, and it'll save. So now we made our bazooka material that's gray. So now we can go into element here, or materials rather. So every mesh can have, any number of materials, depending on how they split it up in Maya or Blender and so on. Because they can, in Maya, define how many materials a mesh should have, and that will split it up in Unreal as well. So I can, in here, just do bazooka material. There we go. So now we have a nice bazooka color on this guy. And let's say on the assault rifle, we want to have a texture. So we like, okay, the artist made a nice texture for this guy. So let's make a texture for that as well. So I'll just make let's make a material for that as well. So I'll do assault rifle material. That's gonna have this nice texture on it. Then what you do is that you do texture sample. I think that's the one. Pretty sure this is the one. There's like 4 ways of doing textures. But I think this is the one. So this node will sample a texture at a certain UV. Do you guys know about UVs and so on, and texture sampling? Have you guys learned about this? I'm guessing since you've had Freya, I'm assuming this stuff is not news to you.
Yes.
Yeah. So down here, I will just select which texture to sample from. So we'll take a nice one. What's a nice like texture for a? This one looks nice. It's some fucking weird ass fucking tiling texture. All right, and then we gotta pump in the UVs, right? So we could pump anything in here if we want to do. We could do like world space sampling or something. But if we just want the texture coordinate of the vertex, then we just do text coord. So text coord, this node will just output the texture coordinates of the vertex we're drawing, or the pixel we're drawing. It's kind of weird, like, is this a vertex shader or a pixel shader? And there really isn't, there is no real, like, they're kind of mashed together. It's kind of like, how did you work with Unity's like shader model?
Shader graph, right?
Yeah, because they have like 2 modes, right? They have one where you define a surface shader, right? Where you only write one piece of code, and that's like for the surface.
Oh, you mean like the code version?
Yeah.
Yeah, we mostly used separate ones. So we had it was split up into both. Like first it was vertex and then fragment. But there is one that's just surf. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's also a new one that's kind of like graph based, like this one. But I don't think we use that too much.
Yeah, I know Freya made the infamous shader forge.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so this is like the surface shader in Unity where you define how a surface looks like. So you can't really think of it in ways of like pixel or vertex, but it's sort of both at the same time. But this will give you the texture coordinate, and out of it you can get like, you know, the red, green, blue, or alpha of the texture. I'm just gonna take RGBA and put that into our base color. There we go. Doesn't that look neat? Oh, that looks so good. And you know, let's say I want to tile this. This doesn't look very good. I can just take the text color and then make me multiply that. I'm just gonna multiply that by 10 to tile the texture a little bit. Let's drag that into UV. And so now the texture is tiled 10 times. So that's cool. Probably one of the best shaders I've ever done, honestly.
Or none.
Let's actually make another texture. This texture is so fucking ugly. let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, let's go. Oh, that's so much better. Okay, cool. So now if I go into assault rifle and I set this to be our material. Yeah, dude. Maybe 10 was a little bit much for tiling. Let's do like 4. Man, Freya, if she was here, she would kill me.
So materials are shaders in Unreal?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And material instance is material?
Material instance, I don't remember in Unity how that worked, but I think so, yeah. It's where you change all of the variables, all the parameters, but you can't change the code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
There we go. So there's our assault rifle.
It's like the Matrix.
Yeah, exactly. It's very cool. So let's say we want to be like, okay, we want to have only the black parts shouldn't be visible, like only to make it even more mindfucky. So let's say we want this black part to be invisible, and we want to see only the 1, 2, 3, 4. By default, all of the shaders that we make in the material editor are opaque, and they use the default lighting system. But if we go into blend mode, we can change opaque to instead be either masked or translucent. So I'm going to take masked for now. And what happens then is that we get this opacity mask here. And that defines if a pixel should be rendered or if it should be cut out or clipped. So if it's above, I think it's like 0.5, I think. If it's above 0.5, then the pixel is visible. And if it's below 0.5, then it's cut out. And I'll just take like, what should I take? Like, I guess the max of RGB, I guess it would be. Maybe I can just take the length. Yeah, let's just take the length of RGB. So let's take the vector length of RGB. So that's without alpha. So it's only RGB. And this vector length, for some reason, has 2 inputs. But yeah, okay, so it's kind of weird, the material editor, how it works. But yeah, so here's the input here. That's the vector 3. And then output comes out here. And I'll just put that in the mask. And let's see what happens. Hopefully that should work. Okay, cool. So it worked. So what happens is that if anything is rendered, if anything has color, then the vector length is going to be above 0.5. Just because, you know, I'm taking RGB as sort of as a vector. I'm just getting that as the length of that. But if there's no color, if it's black, then RGB is going to be 0, 0, 0. So then the vector length is also going to be 0. And then opacity mask will be 0. So then that pixel will be cut off. So I'll apply this. It's just like I have no like good analogies. I'm just like, oh, what if we make the numbers on an assault rifle? I feel like I should have come up with like a good example when you use opacity mask, but here it is. So now we have our like fucking weird ass railgun. Looks pretty sick, I think. So yeah. So that's masking. It's very cool. Masking is always preferable to opacity. Masking is much cheaper than opacity, so it's always good to use when you can. But of course, you only have on and off right with masking. It's either 100% the pixel visible or 100% the pixel is clipped out.
I'm assuming that's like clip in HLSL.
Yes, it's clip.
Yeah,
I believe. So now, if I pick up the bazooka, it's black. Pew 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 pew. But if I pick up the assault rifle, it's the cool Matrix. Pretty fucking sick, I must say. Yeah. You can also insert HLSL codes into shaders. So you can do just code. I don't remember. I don't remember what it's called, but you can do it. I don't remember what the node is called, but
I think it was called just like custom.
Why custom? Oh, there it is, custom. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so with this custom node, you can add, inputs, and you just write. Here it is. Here you just write the code to be, whatever the pixel is gonna be. Not really most likely, unless you're gonna become a tech artist, you probably won't use this, but it's good to know. It's kind of like writing your own code shaders in Unity.
Can you use materials for widgets?
Yes, you can.
Nice.
So widgets do use material. They have a different type of material here called user interface. So if you make your material this user interface type in the material domain, then you can make materials that you can use in widgets. So for example, it's used a bunch, like a million billion times in It Takes Two. For example, like the health bars will like wobble a little bit when you hit something, and that's because it's defined in a material that you can like set the wobbling of the texture and so on. And like circular progress bars, they are also used all 100% done in materials and so on. So yeah, materials are very, very, very powerful, used everywhere. Okay, final stretch before we're done for the day. When I pick up a bazooka, it looks very nice, but when I go and pick up an assault rifle, the bazooka is still there. So even if I switch the gun, I still see the bazooka. And of course, I'm attaching the weapon, but I'm not hiding when I'm, swapping weapon. So that's not good. Whoa. So let's just real quick so we hide the actor of the weapon we're not using. And we'll show the actor of the weapon we are using when we equip something. So when I go in and so I'm gonna, by default, so I'm just gonna do weapon, set actor, hidden in game. I'm gonna set that to true by default. So by default, when we spawn a new weapon, I hide it in game. So this will make it invisible. And then when I switch the weapon, I will for loop. So use for int I. Kind of an ugly way of doing it. Let's do it the smart way. Whatever, we're fucking smart. So I'll do weapons of current weapon index. that I will set actor hidden in game. Whoops. I'll set that to true. So that means like the one we had before the switch, we want to hide that one. And then after the switch, we want to set it's not hidden in game. So we just want to set it visible. Alright. So before the swap, hide, increment index, and then show the one that we're currently on. Let's see what happens. So I will go pew, bazooka. It's visible. And then I pick up this guy, and it doesn't work.
Compile?
I do think it works, but you never hides it in the beginning when you switch weapon.
Sorry, what do you say?
You don't hide the mesh when you pick up the weapon. It's only when you swap weapons.
No, I had it here. So when I pick up the weapon, I hide it.
Okay, sorry, missed it.
No, it's good. It's good. Good that you always hypothesize. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, the problem is actually the reverse. I don't show the weapon when I pick it up, so I have to actually like swap ones to get the new weapon. So if I pick up the assault rifle now, boom, and I switch, then yeah, now I will actually see the correct weapon when I'm switching. Woo!
You also, like, if you have multiple pickups of the same weapon, you will have, like, multiple of those weapons, right? Maybe that's something that you want.
Yeah, that's a good point. That we can fix real quick, actually. So if I have, so the problem is that if I have two here assault rifles, and I pick them both up, whoa. Oh, it was the type not defined? Yeah, the type was not defined, whoops. Oopsie. That's kind of weird. I thought the type was gonna be copied. Should probably, if we were good coders, we'll probably check here if weapon is not null pointer. So if for some reason this spawn fails, like the type is like the null pointer type or something, then we use return instead of crashing. But I don't know. Sometimes it's good to crash. Sometimes it's like if you really expect something to happen, if it's like you're not supposed to set drops that are on the type, I guess showing an error would be better. But just returning out can sometimes be a bit confusing. Then I would rather almost have it crash than have it just like return, because at least then you get the information that something's wrong.
Yeah, and if you crash, you know where you crashed at, so it's kind of better than...
Yeah,
well, yeah.
Exactly. So let's see, so I'll add a weapon pickup here. Let's see. Add a few. So we'll add like we'll make a assault rifle, grenade launcher, and another assault rifle. So now if I pick this one, then I have an assault rifle, and then I pick this one up, I have a grenade launcher, and then I pick this one up. Now I have to press twice to get from the assault rifle back to the grenade launcher, and that's because I have two assault rifles. So I think the easiest way to do this would probably be to just make a let's make a function that's like can pick up weapon type. That will be, whoops. Take that. Oops. And I will just loop through all the weapons and see if we have a weapon that is of that type. So we'll loop through all of them. So we'll do for auto weapon in weapons. And we'll just check here. Also, if weapon. God damn it. Weapon. We can use actually a very useful function here called. Fucking god damn it. Weapon. No. Is A. So that's another way to check if one actor or one object rather is the type of another is some class essentially. So we want to check if the weapon is this class. So we'll do is A, and then in parentheses we'll do type. So this will return true if weapon is this type or is a child of this type. So that's what isA does. Either it's the type exactly or it is a child of that type. Whoops. So then we'll do if it is, then we'll return false. So then we say no, we cannot pick up this gun because we already have a gun that is of that type, and otherwise we'll return true.
I'm guessing that's pretty cheap as well. That's probably like one of those hash comparisons, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, type comparisons are very fast. So now we can go into weapon drop and pick up, and we'll just check here. So if player can pick up weapon type, if we can't, then just return. So then nothing will happen. So the weapon pickup will stay in place if we can't pick it up. Let's see if it works. Okay. Let's see. So I picked this guy up. Assault rifle, very good. And I picked this guy up. Grenade launcher, very good. And hooray! Now I can't even pick this guy up because it's saying, okay, I already have an assault rifle, so I won't get picked up. Cool. Alright, that's gonna be it for today. I wanted to ask for some feedback from you guys. I feel like we have, this lesson and the last one, we are kind of retreading grounds a bit much, like, creating actors, doing overlaps. Like, we're not really taking, like, very dangerous big steps. So I was wondering if you guys felt the same, that maybe next lesson we would maybe take the leap and do something that's a bit more scary, because I want to kind of be at the edge where you guys barely feel comfortable. That's where I kind of want to be, like where you feel like, okay, you kind of understand but not really, like this is really at the edge, whereas now I feel like we're just treading the same grounds over and over. Do you guys feel like you agree with that, or what's your feeling on that thought?
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah, definitely. I felt like the same for a while.
Yeah, I think we're a bit ready to move on from this.
It was a really good start, though, to just drill things into us.
Yeah,
I think that's the best way to learn, is just be like, I just throw hard things at you, and then you pick up the pieces, in between lessons and so on. I think that's always the best.
I also thought that, but when I did that, I lost my teaching license.
Good one.
I would like to see personally that we try to go more towards a real game, so we see like the actual problems we probably will encounter when we make real games in like a project. So that means like all the between stuff that now like feels not so interesting, so we kind of skip them,
Yeah.
But it would probably be good to know.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like a full game or whatever, but yeah, something like it.
That's a good idea, I think. I will think it over tonight, and then maybe we can do a lesson tomorrow even, because I don't know. No.
That noise was in relation to having to have another lesson tomorrow. I have something personal I want to take up with you regarding that, but I'll do that latest. It's okay. It's kind of personal.
Okay.
For me also, I would like to prefer to have more time to work, I think.
Okay.
With projects, maybe some assignments, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I was struggling with coming up with like a new assignment since we haven't really done anything new. But yeah, okay, let's take a day off, and then I can plan a little bit more about where I want to take it on Wednesday, kind of what we'll do. My thought right now is to start something else, maybe do like a new project, to be like, okay, this was our test project, we've tested out a bunch of stuff now, okay, cool, let's start on an actual game, like that's fun, something that's, would be challenging to do. I was thinking maybe like a snowboarding game or something. I don't know what you guys think about that. It's like some movement or something that's like, okay, this is kind of tricky. Good idea.
Something weird.
Yeah. Not like just you have a gun and you shoot things.
Not 2D platformer, but yeah.
Mario Kart with guns.
Anything involving funny physics, even on a 2D environment. I want to make a backflip and I want it to feel good. There hasn't been a good snowboarding game since fucking On Tour. It's criminal.
Well, I mean, I don't know if we're gonna make a good game, but we'll make something. Yeah, I'll mull it over, and I'll try and see if I can come up with something that's like we can make it and we can make good progress in the time we have left, and find interesting problems. But I think doing collision and doing movement is like a lot of fun. I think because it's what I did in. It Takes Two. I did like the base movement, the collision solving, all the sweeps and all that stuff. And it's very interesting stuff to learn, especially because it's so useful when making games with precision movements, where it's like, okay, I want the movement to feel good. Like the character movement component usually won't do the trick. It's kind of like it's too cookie cutter to do anything. So then it's good to know, like, okay, if I wanted to make my own movement from scratch, how would I do that in a nice way? So maybe something like that. But I'll mull it over, and maybe tomorrow I can have a chat with you guys to see, like, do you have any game ideas that you think would be interesting to make that aren't too big? If you have any suggestion, then please poke me or poke in the Discord or something like that. Something you think would be cool to make.
But even like if they're big, we don't necessarily have to complete all of it, right?
Yeah, I guess with big I mean like a lot of setup to do. Like with a snowboarding game, it's like, okay, we just make like a hill and then we go down the hill and then we make like a ramp. So it's like we're immediately into the hard stuff. But if it's too much setup where it's like, okay, we have to make like a camera system and like all of that stuff, then maybe not. But it's hard to know.
But it has to feel real. So you need a lift, and then you need like, it takes like 5 minutes to put on the bindings when you're at the top. Like after that, maybe you can go down. But don't forget the helmet and physics for that.
Yeah, your kid is like crying, so you have to call like the fucking like little scooter that comes up and grabs your kid.
Toes are getting cold, so we need to like figure out a way to get that AR feeling when you freeze the player's toes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But I had a thought actually. Wouldn't it be fun to do like this in sort of bigger groups, not in like pairs, but maybe like 4 or 5 people, and to also practice cooperation and like get the feel of reviewing each other's code and that sort of thing?
No, I mean like we all work on the same project. And
well, it doesn't really matter then. I mean, if we're just 5 groups or something and work on similar ideas or projects, or I don't know.
Just in the end, like the last week or something.
Yeah, because we had the idea of you guys actually starting up your own projects and working in small groups and then just making a game. That was an idea, and we could do that now. Like we start now with you guys. Like, okay, we're ready. You have gotten the basic knowledge. Now make your game, and then my teaching will become more of a, maybe once a week we do like a seminar or something, but most of the time I'm just sort of sitting with you guys, taking problems as they come. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Like popping in on different rooms and checking how it's going and showing stuff. And I don't know. I think it would be fun to do that, and I think I learn a lot from doing it myself as well. So it's, and also like seeing I like what you're doing now is great, but I get the most out of it when I actually get your code and like start poking around in it for real.
Yeah.
And so that would be sort of that thing where everyone does a little bit, and then you look at each other's work and you have to try to figure out how to put it together to one thing. And I don't know. But maybe that's more like it gets quite project focused and not so focused on the language. So maybe it's a bad idea to like, maybe it won't be as much C++ as we would hope. I don't know.
Also kind of difficult depending on the sizes of the group, I think. Like, especially if you're not just all typing in the same project. Like, do you split things up? How do you split things up into smaller things? Like, I don't know. Like, if we're 5 programmers on the same thing, what does everyone do is more of a problem than just how do we do it.
Yeah, that's a lot of programmers.
I think that kind of setup could probably be better towards the end of the course, if we're gonna have something similar to that, where we just try something out together. But as of right now, I think, like for a lot of people, just mashing up, creating semi-large groups and starting to work like that, it could probably disrupt a lot of people's learning as well.
Yeah, the way I see it working best in that case would be actual, you take turns and everyone sits together and just like comes up with something. Like, but I know some people don't like the pair programming stuff, but if you're more than just 2 or whatever, I feel it's harder to split things up. Also, like Git and all that shit, setting that shit up and not having a break for Unreal might be a issue.
What I actually want is just for everyone to learn Git so that we can have group projects properly in the future.
That'd be nice.
Git is nice.
No, but I mean, I was just thinking all the options we have now with like just simple screen sharing, but also like buddy coding in the actual editors and stuff. It could be quite useful to do that sort of thing and just be able to like do it together. And even if you're a group of 5, you can still split up in pairs or whatever and do work on one task for 2 people or something. But I mean, it's not. It was just a thought, an idea for something.
Yeah.
So whatever.
We could do a poll or something, because I think there's a lot of thoughts and maybe everyone hasn't really shared their opinion about what they want to do.
In my opinion, I think that also that a project would be better suited towards the end, because doing a project, like, you know, when we're working in groups, there are a lot of things that the designers and artists are doing. And when we're doing a project by ourselves, we're going to have to do all of those things also. And I think it's a bit wrong focus when we should be learning the programming. To sit and like do animations or things like that.
Well, if the game looks like the Matrix, it's fine. If it's just numbers. No, but I do agree. That's a risk that you like end up doing too much around the actual programming. Like that is more indie game dev week.
I mean, we are going to have a lot of group projects.
I just brought it up because I was thinking that we are sort of getting towards the end. Because this is the 3rd or 4th week or something.
Third.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I mean, I personally don't really care if you end up doing as long as you're having fun, even if you're doing like animations or art or whatever. It's like if you're having fun, that's fine. That's learning the engine, because I don't think you're really here to learn coding. Like, I mean, you will learn coding every day of your life going forward now. So it's like, what's important in this course is to learn Unreal. How does Unreal work? How does it feel to work with Unreal? If an artist comes to you and says like, how do I add normal maps to my material? you should know that, or you shouldn't. I mean, okay, it's not expected, but if you know that, that's gonna help you. And if you know how ABPs work, that's gonna help you in your career doing when working with Unreal Engine. Or if you know FX or what have you. Like I love working with FX and working with materials, even though that's not programming. But yeah, the only reason that's like doing projects is a good idea is because then you are more invested in it. Then it's like, okay, I'm doing this because I have ideas, you know. We are game developers, we make games. Whoa. Maybe looking at a guy making a really boring first-person shooter is not like your idea of game development. So, but I don't know, at the same time, not everyone. I'll think about it. So I'll spend tomorrow. I'll think about, you know, what the best course of action is for these last 2 weeks.
I think you made the FPS pretty fun though, with the naming conventions and everything.
Yeah, thanks. It's fun in the humoristic in the humoristic sense. But yeah, I could probably come up with some game idea that's fun. That's like, okay, we can make this game in 2 weeks, and then hopefully you guys can make like modifications to it to make it a little bit of your own. So I'll just bang out some game idea that we can sit down and do. That's probably fun. And then we'll see what happens. So for tomorrow, just chill out, watch videos, explore the engine if you want to. Always explore the engine, even if you don't think it's relevant. It's always good. Learning anything you can will only help you. So yeah, just explore. And I'll be around if you have questions tomorrow and so on. And on Wednesday we'll see what we do. Do something fun.
Neat.
Neato.
A question about Thursday. I don't think we have a schedule, but it's like a half-day, semi-red day for some people. Are we doing anything, or is it free work, or?
Oh yeah, Thursday.
It's Easter Thursday.
Yeah, well on Thursday we don't have a lesson anyways. So Thursday is off,
Yeah.
and Friday is red day.
Yeah.
So on Friday we have no lesson. On Monday we also don't have a lesson, I think. Monday is also a red day. So there's actually only like 2 lessons left. No, 3. It's Wednesday.
Hence, why I thought we were getting towards the end of the course.
Wait, 2 lessons in the course or in this week, or?
No, there's one lesson on Wednesday. Then there's one lesson Wednesday next week, and then Friday next week, and that's it. Those are the only lessons.
No, but there's another week after that, right?
No, this is the 3rd week of 5 weeks.
Yeah, and then it's the 4th week, and then it's the 5th week.
Oh, fuck. Yes, that is how counting works. Yeah, okay, yeah. No, yeah. I was like 3, and then it's like, okay, index 3 in an array, that's the next, that's like there's no week 0. Yeah, okay, then there's a couple of more lessons left. Okay, cool. It's like, fuck.
You're too into coding, you count everything from 0.
Yeah, exactly. We start at 0, guys. Alright, sweet. But yeah, I won't keep you any longer, but now, yeah. So I've gotten the feeling that it's a good idea to start something new, something more fun. So yeah, I'll come up with something, and we'll do something cool. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Unless there's any last questions before I go to sleep.
I have some, but they're mainly about me and not important for the rest of the class. Unless they want to hear about someone having a sort of a breakdown.
You want to talk here, or you want to talk? It's up to you.
I can do it out here if anyone else wants to feel like they're not alone in being just completely behind.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Okay, so I just want to say thank you for one, just making the half-day thing, because just honestly, I cannot follow any lesson like we're having right now. That's a me thing. That isn't just how I work, unfortunately. And the fact that you give us the engine, like the projects that we then can root around in, is also good, because this is, I only started messing around with your stuff today. I've only been comfortable enough to open the Unreal Engine like in 2 fucking separate instances and try and copy the 2nd day project today. Before that, I wasn't comfortable actually even opening anything, because I was still reading my goddamn book to realize that, what's it? This, I'm going to do this in the chat real quick. That this, for example, is actually just a fucking shitty version, apparently, of this.
Where are you posting?
In the chat.
Oh, in the team chat.
Yes, it's. Don't mind the spelling, but like I only figured this out like last week on like Thursday, and it made me fucking understand everything sort of now.
Mm-hmm.
But like this is where I'm at. So.
Okay.
So 2 things. One, thank you very much for making me able to actually follow. The second part, how fucked am I, basically, is what I'm asking. Because I'm going to have to catch up from this point to where we are now.
Well, I mean, it's like your 6th week of C++.
Oh, yes. Remember, the SDL work wasn't so much a ramp into C++ as it was a brick wall.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like 6 weeks or something, so 6 weeks of C++. I mean, you're not expected to know everything, or not even expected to be good, honestly. You're just expected to listen and try to take in as much as you can. But you have your whole fucking life ahead of you to learn it, so I mean, it's fine.
I think the big problem is just the listening part. Is there any way, I don't know, a fucking... Like, it doesn't have to be much, but just maybe even the YouTube description of the day of your uploads, just typing in like what was the special thing we did that day, just so I know like, oh, I don't know what this thing happened or how this thing happened. Oh, I can just at least look at the description to know that, oh, I can skip this day because we didn't talk about whatever, like fixing actors or something in this one or so on. Because now I have to siphon through like. How many hours? 10 hours? 15 hours? Oh, maybe just 10 hours of like video trying to find a specific snippet. And it's very hard.
Well, you can always ask your... if it's just a snippet that you're after, you can either ask me or your classmates in that case.
Huh.
So if you're looking for like, how do I do X? Then I'm happy to just explain that again. And I can probably explain it better the second time than in some random video without context. So if you just look for a snippet, I would ask either your classmates or me. And you should watch the videos more to be like, okay, what did we do today? And you could do like, 2x speed, just to speed through it. But yeah.
Yeah.
Does that help?
A little itty bit.
Okay.
Yeah, listening is the absolute worst, and it's unfortunate that it is the structure. That it's not really something you can change really well.
It sounds to me like it would be probably very helpful for you to do things on your own, like try things even if they're like scary. Because you said that you only felt comfortable opening up the editor like yesterday or today or whatever. But like even if it's scary, even if nothing makes sense, like do it until shit breaks, and then just write in the Discord, help, white flag, like flag someone down, and we'll help you when we can, because like we help everyone. You know how we are. Like we're not gonna be like, oh, you don't know that. So.
Yeah. Oh no, that's not the. I am always up for making an ass out of myself. That's not the problem. That means I just can grab people's attention. I'm that kind of person. The problem is more of the thing of like I don't even know what to ask for, and that's a very fun feeling. Yeah, so that's mainly the thing why I like reading, because then I can actually sift through, get the information, reread whatever, skip the parts I know, whatever. But when it comes to like just messing around with the engine, I feel like I need to at least know something, or like it's rather I get actually paralyzed because I don't know how to go forward. It is I don't know what to do.
Well, I mean,
or even how to do it. It is that like harsh.
Then I have a question. Yeah. Is it like the engine that you feel uncomfortable, or is it with the coding within the engine?
It is both, which is a fun double whammy.
It's perfect, right? No, but one thing you can do, like I think Marcus said this before, like if you just write down the keywords during the lessons, then you can take your time afterwards and just look up these keywords.
Yeah, that barely works because I do zone out, and when I'm like gone for 5 seconds or whatever, I have a hard time picking up the ball again or even figuring out which one is the keyword.
Okay.
Like it is, just like listening parts have always been really hard for me. It's the reason why I had to take like 2 Fs in my like when I was in gymnasium, because I could not follow because it was only oral. It is a huge hurdle for me specifically, which is also why I wanted to do this last, because I don't know how general this is for anyone else.
I have a question.
Sure.
So you seem to be able to follow discussions, and for me, discussing things like with voice is one of the best ways to learn. How do you feel about that?
One-on-ones, talking like that works, because then my brain has to come up with an answer, because you asked me a question like this, 1 and 2. But when it comes to listening for long times and just picking out things, that's where everything, that's like, yeah, focusing on something specific for a long time, yeah, that's the hard part. So one-on-ones usually work better, but then I also have to have someone to one-on-one with or discuss with.
Yeah, but you should probably find someone.
My tip to you, because I don't learn at all either from oral stuff. Like I never watch YouTube tutorials or anything. It just doesn't help me. Also, reading doesn't really help me either. The way I've learned like everything I know is to do stuff. Just like open it up and just change everything, like poke everything and see what happens. Like change that, compile, change that, compile, change that, compile. Because I feel like I personally think that's the only way to actually learn something, is to just do it yourself. You cannot learn truly by reading in a creative thing like this. You can only learn by doing. So yes, you're kind of like behind because there's things you don't know, but it's not gonna get better, I think, from reading. It's only gonna get better from doing. Even though it feels kind of useless to be like just pulling strings and seeing what happens, that is kind of what programming is. You pull strings and see what happens, and like that's how most programmers learn everything.
I have a suggestion. Since we have tomorrow off, because I was going to suggest this anyway, because I kind of have the same problem, or I have a problem of knowing exactly what to do, and I get paralyzed in that way instead, so I kind of don't mess around. But what if we do like a study group, for instance, when we have days off, where it's almost like body coding or like pair programming or whatever, where one person sits and does something. Preferably we would take turns, and then we would talk about like what would we do now, and we can start from like the most basic shit ever, like how do we make one script that does one thing, and then we can start with you, Henrik, like you make the thing, and then when you run into issues, then we'll talk about it and we'll try to figure it out, because like I don't know, like it becomes, I know what you're talking about, the paralyzation of like, what do I do next? Like, I don't even know where to start. Like everything's so fucking massive. Like, yeah, it's jumping into the pool and having the feeling of that you're drowning, like Emil talked about before. But you have to like start paddling, or you have to start like sifting through the things that you don't know until you feel like you, I don't know, are not drowning anymore, I guess.
Because I don't think you shouldn't be scared of, because that's kind of what I said before, like you shouldn't be scared of that happening, being like there's a brick wall and you don't understand anything and everything, you don't even know what to ask. That you shouldn't be scared of that, because that's what it's gonna be like forever. Like those senior programmers, it's not that they never feel that way. They feel that as much as you do, when it's like, oh, here's a rendering bug I've never seen in my life. And they have to debug it. It's like, you have to fix this. Then it's like, okay, I have no idea what anything here does. You just kind of start poking around and seeing what happens. And it's like, you're completely lost. You have no idea what anything means. But that's what programming is. That's like, we always learn new things, so we have no idea what the fuck's happening. But you just kind of learn that feeling it's not indicative of your skill or anything. It's just sort of the way it is.
That does help a little bit. I do like the study group idea, just so I can show my whole ass like live and have people actually point out, no, this is what you should be doing, because I like direction. I would be the model citizen in a fascist society, unfortunately. But it's also not just like, oh, the feeling I don't know what to do, scared. It is literally, what do I do now? I can feel the two halves of my brain going cross-eyed, and now I have a headache. It's not so much I'm scared is I get a physical reaction and pain from not knowing what to do and just focusing on nothing. It's like a V8 going it's like going on tomgång very aggressively. Just lots of work and nothing done, and it's painful.
Yeah, but let's try that tomorrow if you're up for it. I'll try to be there at 10, and then we can start off with that. And you'll start screen sharing. We'll go through it from start, and then if anyone else wants to drop in, that's up to them.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And then you can pull me in if you want to. If you want me to have my opinion or my help, then you just ping me and I'll hop in and say my little thing or do my little dance if you want to. So yeah, feel free to use me in that way as well. I'll just be here thinking.
Yeah, can you be there all the time and just dance?
Yeah, I'll just be in the background like, woo! You can do it, baby!
Sweet, I'll finally learn how to fucking put in a fucking folder in Unreal. That thing has been just enough of a headache already.
A folder?
The folder?
Yeah.
Yes, but somehow for just right-clicking in the fucking content bit, it just says, no, you're not allowed to. Even when I'm doing like...
Oh, here, C++.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not allowed to. You have to make it in the Explorer.
Yeah, I did. It still doesn't show up, and I fucking restarted the engine. I still don't know how it works.
Yeah, well, stuff like that, then you just ping me, and I'll show you. That's
we'll
easy.
Figure out tomorrow, then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, but that's a really good idea, Fredrik. That's very, very, very smart. Very smart.
Yeah, some form of structure. Someone I can look up to tell me what to do. That's all I really want.
Fredrik, you've made big promises now, so better deliver.
The background is very difficult.
No, but yeah. So always, if there's anything you don't feel sure about, just ping me and I'll hop in. Like I'll be here available all day. So use me. Cool, guys.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for bringing it up. I will go to sleep, and I'll see you tomorrow then. And I'll think of something cool to do on Wednesday. Have a great evening, boys.
Yeah,
Same to you.
Bye.
Thanks.
You too.